Okay, so our topic of discussion today, we're going to do a quick 2-minute. You're going to tell your shoulder partner what you know about division. Okay, so turn and talk. Ready, go.
I know that division is splitting a number into equal parts
Okay, so can you split a number that is, can a number, once you split it, can it not be even? Can you split a number that's not even? What happens if you split a number that doesn't come out even? Can you think of an instance in which you would end up with a remainder? 63 divided by 2. How do you know you'll end up with a remainder if you divide 63 by 2?
Because 63 doesn't end with a even number, which means it's not divisible by 2.
You might have a remainder which means it will
In which life event would you need to divide? Like in everyday math.
When you split cookies among your friends.
What happens if you have a cookie left over?
The person who brought the cookies can eat them.
The person that brought the cookie gets to eat it. Was that fair?
You might
Alright, class, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 in your mouth. Thank you. Alright, so Philip, what did you and your shoulder partner discuss?
I said that division is when you're multiplying and subtracting by, because first if the first number can't go into the divisor, you go to the next number, and if that number can't go into the divisor, you go to the next, or you keep going to the next number, and if none of them can go to the divisor, then that number can be divided.
So, let me see if I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that there are certain numbers that cannot be divided by a divisor? Like the quotient, the dividend can't be divided by the divisor?
The dividend is the divisor is divided by.
So the dividend is the big number, and you're saying that sometimes there's a dividend, which is the larger number, can't be divided by the divisor? Okay. And that it's associated with multiplication. Okay. All right, let's talk to another group. All right, let's talk with Mallory. Mallory, what did you and your shoulder partner discuss?
We discussed that you can decrease, and that's what I said, and then he said that you can multiply and subtract.
Multiply and subtract. That's what Jackson said? Can you give us some more information about that?
As in multiplying, where you can, in division, you always have to multiply to get that number. To get the number, you have to multiply the divisor by that number to get your quotient.
It's only long division. What about short division? That's what everyone's forgetting about.
No, it's not.
So let me see if I understand what you're saying. You're saying that you use multiplication to find a number that
You subtract by the divisor.
you subtract the dividend. You subtract from the dividend.
Yes.
Okay. Can you find a number? Can you multiply a number by the divisor to get the dividend? Is that a possibility?
Yes, that can be a possibility.
Okay. So what does that mean? If I find a number that I multiply the divisor by and I get the dividend,
That means that just be
what kind of division is that? Do you remember, what do we call that?
Short division.
Short division. But remember in 3rd grade when we were taking our dividend and we were putting it in what?
Groups.
In groups. What was that called?
Fact family.
It's also a fact family, but what are we doing? We're what? Sharing. We're sharing what? The dividend equally among what?
The
Group. So division, you can divide the dividend by a divisor and get an equal what? Amount or an even part, right? The parts are fair.
Okay.
They're equal, right? Okay, is there an event in a situation where you will get, you won't get?
Yes.
It won't come out even?
Yes.
You'll
Because
have-
if it's an odd and an even, it could become an odd with a remainder, or it could just become an even with equal parts.
Okay, thank you, Maya, for raising your hand. Yes, Maya.
Like if you divided 9 by 4, you get an even number.
You wouldn't get an even number, or
I mean, you wouldn't get a whole number.
you wouldn't get a whole number. What would you get?
I don't know.
A remainder
I just-
of 1.
You said if you divide 9 by 4, what do you end up with?
2 with a remainder of 1.
2 with a remainder of 1. Why would I end up with 2 with a remainder of 1, Eli? She said if you divide 9 by 4, I would not get an even number. I would get 2 with a remainder of 1. And that goes back to what Philip was saying, that sometimes you use multiplication to see how close you could get to the dividend, right? So how close did we get to the dividend if we multiplied 4 times 2? What's 4 times 2?
4 times 2 is 8.
But I said I was dividing 9 by 4.
So you have
So I have the
1, 2.
I have the remainder of 1. Okay, so now we're going to list some vocabulary words because I heard a bunch of vocabulary words. I heard dividend. I heard divisor. I heard quotient. I heard multiplication. I heard equal.
You need decimals and
I heard sharing.
Yeah, there could be decimals.
Remainder.
There could be decimals.
Remainder. Okay, so Jacob, come write one vocabulary word you heard that is related to division. Because if you're going to write a letter to an incoming 4th grade student, you need to explain to them how to do long division. Are you going to use these vocabularies to explain that? Yes, you'll need these words. Because if you say the number, divide the number by the divisor, well, what number are you talking about? Are they going to know what number you're talking about? No.
Unless you're playing.
So, okay, what was the word that you heard?
Equal.
Equal. All right. Adelina, what number, come write a word that you heard when we were discussing about division. All right, Philip, what word did you hear? Remainder. Adelina, what word did you hear? Whole number. Come write your word. Remainder. What number did you hear, Eli?
You said number.
Word. What word did you hear?
Can't remember it.
I'll come back to you. What did you hear, Jack? What word did you hear?
Multiply?
Multiply. What did you hear, Mallory? Decrease. Thank you for raising your hand. Yes, Tristan, what word did you hear?
Dividend.
Dividend. Dividend. Oh, come write your word.
Okay.
Journey, thank you for raising your hand. Yes. Groups. 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 What did you write? What did you say? You said multiply.
No, I didn't check. So
Okay.
I said decrease.
Decrease. Decrease. So when a number decreases, you're doing what?
Subtracting.
You're subtracting or dividing, right? Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Noah.
I didn't hear this one, but I know that it's related to it. Decimals.
Decimals are also
If
related.
you did 25 divided by 2, you would end up with 24 and 1/2. Or point.
No,
50.
it's not point.
It's what it's called, decimal, or yeah. So you can, yeah, you going into the decimal system, definitely when you're dividing, right?
0.1.
If you have that remainder left over.
Decimal 1.
And that's something that you learned new this year, right? Groups, all right? You want to come write your word? Eli, yes. Share. Come write your word.
Divisor.
Thank you for raising your hand. Oscar, is there a word up there that you, is there a word that you heard that's not on the board so far? Okay, so we have equal, whole number, remainder, multiply, decrease, dividend, groups, share. Is there another word that you heard that's not up there? Gabriel, thanks for raising your hand. I'm coming back to you, Oscar. Yes. Quotient. Quotient. What does quotient mean?
It means the answer to a division problem.
Thank you, Tristan. What's this quotient mean, 8 and M?
An answer to a division problem.
Yes, the answer to a division problem. Q-U. Ooh.
Q
That's a hard one. Yeah, Q-U-O-T-I-E-N-T. All right. Okay, Oscar, you got one that's not up there?
No.
All right. Yes, Tristan.
Divisor.
Divisor. Divisor. Divisor. Any others you can think of that are not up there? Let's have Bailey, after he finished writing divisor, can you read our words for us that is associated with division that we used?
Associated with division or just name?
Read all our words that we came up with.
Equal, whole number, remainder, multiply, decrease, dividend, groups, share, quotient, and divisor.
Divisor. Any others you can think of? All right.
Subtract.
Subtract. What are you doing when you divide?
Subtracting.
You're subtracting
Repeatedly subtracting.
Repeatedly subtracting.
Repeated subtraction.
Yes. Yes.
Like
What are you
repeated
subtracting?
The nearest number.
You're subtracting the divisor over and over and over and over again until you get to what?
Zero.
Till you get to
Or you
zero.
can't subtract it anymore.
Okay?
Because
you
you might
can't.
get the...
You could go into the decimals if you wanted to.
Subtract. Repeated subtraction. So what is the opposite of repeated subtraction?
Repeated addition.
Repeated addition, which is what?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. Okay, take your hand, raise it up in the air, reach it over your head,
Sit up.
put it on the back, pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back. Because you have the basic knowledge of what? Division and multiplication. So if you know how to multiply, you know how to what?
Divide.
If you know how to divide, you know how to what?
Multiply.
Yes.
It's basically like multiplication. It's
You know how to add it.
It's like division is you dividing it by the multiplication number, and in multiplication you're adding the multiplication number to the top.
Okay.
Dude,
All right, so now let's talk about, we're going to do one more share. This time we're going to talk about a strategy. Oh, I got it fixed. Okay, we're going to talk about different strategies you use because we don't always use the same strategy, do we?
Nope.
No. So I want you to think about a strategy that you use when you divide. Okay, we're thinking right now. You got 2 minutes to think before you think. I'm going to give you a word problem, and you're going to have to think about it for 2 minutes, and you're going to tell to your shoulder partner what kind of strategy would you use. All right, ready to listen? Are you ready to listen?
Yeah.
All right. Mrs. King needs to rent tables for the 327 guests who will attend her daughter's wedding reception. If Miss King sets 9 guests at each table, how many tables should she rent to seat all the guests?
How many tables are there?
One more time. I'm going to read it to you. Miss King needs to rent tables for 327 guests who will attend